consume content during my job or during my day, whatever you're doing, that's cool. That's why there's a podcast. Joe works very hard to get each hour in the full show up at the James Hammond Kyle Match Show podcast feed, available wherever you get your podcast.
Shout out, Joe. If you don't listen, you just hate us. It's fine.
If you have the most busy schedule of all time, you turn that podcast on as you're about to lay down.
Bang, bang. Put you right to sleep.
There it is. No, that's not. Okay.
Well, little Kyle Matson, little voice of Kyle Matson, and put you to sleep.
The Sacramento Kings yesterday made the Dennis Schroder signing official. The Pistons, it is a sign and trade. So the Pistons are receiving part of the Kevin Huerter traded player exception and a protected 2026 second-round pick via Charlotte. The Kings are getting Dennis Schroder and a 2029 second-round pick. The Kings retain their full mid-level exception. I'm glad they got this out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, this was just, the longer this lingered, the further I got to, are they going to botch this?
See, I think this
is Markelle Fultz going to be their point guard next year?
Okay, I think that's just Kings PTSD. Though.
I think it is.
Because I was never
wrong.
It's not. Okay, can it be wrong, but also understandable? Because like I get the thinking, but it's also like I don't think that's like that was never my thought. It was just like they're just working on other things, and then because the reporting was also like always like this is gonna get done. It's just a matter of they're working on some other things as well. But it was always just this is gonna be something that will be done.
Yeah,
but I get it. Like I won't call it wrong, but I understand it. Yeah,
it's definitely.
We had a caller I think yesterday talk about that. I think not necessarily Dennis Schroder stuff, but just kind of like just. Like maybe Kuminga doesn't want to be here because of past issues and stuff like that. Maybe that's what's holding it up. Like there's always that Kings PTSD with fans.
I don't think the Kuminga thing has anything to do with it.
No, yeah, I'm just saying like there's just kind of like this the PTSD.
Yeah, it's hard
past
to
mistakes are always kind of linger around.
I don't so like with the 49ers, for example. I always like we say on this program, we are never going to tell you how to fan. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You do what you want. Your life, you enjoy it. It's sports. It's not that serious.
It's the dumbest thing we do.
It's without question. It baffles me that we get paid to do this. So fan how you want to fan, but I always think it's entertaining to me when 49er fan who has seen their team in the Super Bowl twice since 2019 and who's seen their team in the NFC title game 4 times since 2019 is just in constant meltdown mode.
Yeah, I know a guy yesterday was talking about, hey, if Brock Purdy doesn't start the season off hot, like he's going to be in trouble. He just got a deal. He's fine.
Yeah, that's where. Yes.
I know that. Yeah. Yes.
No, that's a separate thing.
No,
I don't want to dig back into that.
Yeah.
But just in constant, like, oh my God, everything's on fire. Fire everybody. They lost the Super Bowl in 2019.
TC calls in, day out.
And wants Kyle Shanahan out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are so many people, and that's not specific to TC. There are so many people that are just like, everything sucks, tear it down. It's like, what? With Kings fan that believes it, I can't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't point to, hey, but look at this very recent run, 2019, 2021, 2022, 2023. That's 4 times in 5 years that you were in the NFC title game of the Super Bowl. With Kings fan, and so when Niner fans like, oh my God, everything's awful, it's like, okay, well, relax. If Kings fan goes, hey, I'm kind of worried that this Dennis Schroder thing hasn't been officially announced. Like, I'm getting kind of wary here. It's hard to, I'm not going to be like, hey, calm down.
Well, yeah, because how many times have they been right too?
A lot.
Exactly. Like we looked so fondly upon Beam Team 1 when that was all happening in the moment, and then just kind of distancing out and all that. Like, it's just, after that, it was just all horrible.
During that entire season, that 22-23 season, I was still at 95.7 for most of it. And I would come on D'Lo and Casey on Fridays. And I remember having that conversation of like, look, there's no other shoe to drop here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good team that's going the right direction. Like, if you don't, they have a vision. Like, Monty McNair is building something. This sounds so silly in hindsight. But at the time, I'm telling you, this is, I'm freely admitting I was wrong.
No, well, we all were.
But it's like, there's no other shoe to drop. Guys, like, I understand Kings fan is very, very traumatized by a 16-year playoff drought. But look, they're back.
Yeah.
Like, they are here. And every person that had that consternation of like, I don't know, that I'm just waiting for the other. God, it's
an entire Foot Locker fell on everyone.
On everyone.
Yes.
So I'm no longer in the. I will when I can. I'm going to view things through, hey, like, this is why this could work. It's why I'm not sitting here going, man, Scott Perry is failing his first test as GM because, man, they haven't gotten this Kuminga thing done. Dennis Schroder might be their only impactful offseason signing. Oh my God, everything is awful. No. I'm not there. But when the Schroder signing got announced yesterday, our own James Ham actually first reported it, that sign and trade was official. For me, it was like, oh, okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like the Schroder contract. I didn't even like the
It's just a sigh of relief that something got done.
Yeah, that they did something.
Yeah.
Because in the world where, and again, maybe we were never close to this, and like you said, this was agreed upon. It was just the machinations of how it was going to go down.
Mhm.
I think you're right. But in the world where something happens and Schroeder winds up going back to Detroit and the Kings are just kind of left holding the bag,
Yeah.
that would have been really, really tough.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been the first time you get Eric Escobar in the chatty house. Says they need to operate like a normal organization for 4 years before they get the benefit of the doubt from me.
You have 4 years?
Yeah,
That's the cutoff?
fair. I don't know if it's a cutoff. It is for Eric.
I think that's fair, actually.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Like, yeah, because it's like we saw him do it for 1 year. It felt like with Monty McNair and co. I was like, all right, like they got some here, and then it just turns out like that just wasn't the case at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of, I don't want to say covered up or whatever, but like winning cures all, you know?
Are they operating like a normal organization right now?
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, 1000%.
I think if they weren't, I think they would have. How do I want to say this?
Well,
I
it
think
just
if they
seems like
weren't,
it.
I think if they weren't, they'd be heavily in negotiations for Jonathan Kuminga, and they would be dramatically overpaying to get him. That's how I think if the Kings were gonna mess this up somehow, and again, I don't know. Maybe whatever vision Scott Perry has is out of control, and it's not going to work. I don't know, but if their entire plan was we're going to give up the farm to make sure that Jonathan Kuminga is wearing purple and black, that would be a massive red flag for me.
Yeah, and you kind of look at it too. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole, we got to get rid of Malik Monk stuff or whatever. But you look at that, and they weren't, seems rumors where they weren't interested in Trae Young and all that stuff. So I think there's a process and a plan to like, all right, now Scott Perry's trying to bring in players that'll kind of just fit the identity of what him and Doug Christie want. And it's only been a week and a half as well. Like, there's so much offseason left. There's a whole season, trade deadlines, yada, yada, next offseason. So there's so much like left he's got to do and all that. But I mean, so far, so good for me.
Yeah.
I don't love the not rebuilding thing this year. It is what it is. But I think for the direction they're going, I'm cool with it right now.
I think there's, because I said yesterday, for me, there's a certain aspect of this where if the argument is, well, hey, maybe Zack Lavine and Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan weren't tradable.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Like, I know that doesn't help. But like, I'm not getting paid to be a GM. I'm not having these conversations. I'm not making these phone calls. I don't have the connections that Scott Perry has.
Yeah, no, I get the figure.
But on the other hand, there's been nothing egregious. Like, should they have done this or that? Like, maybe. Like, you can argue one way or the other. Should they have tried to trade Zack Lavine? Yeah, and maybe they did. And maybe there's just no takers. But nothing has happened outside of the price they paid for Dennis Schroder, frankly. Nothing has happened that I've been like, wow, this is a mess.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest fan of running it back, but like looking at last season, is there any aspect where this group coming into this season like could have been successful last year at all? Like, Zack Lavine kind of just got thrown into a fire. DeMar DeRozan ended up becoming a leader when he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah,
everyone was playing out of position. It felt like
it feels
like maybe there's just some calmness going into this season where, like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, they could get into the playoffs and make a run or anything like that, but just maybe it looks a little bit better this year.
I think this relates a little bit to the Bradley Beal thing. Bradley Beal, follow me here. Yeah. This may not work, but I'm going to try it on the fly. Bradley Beal is not a bad player. Bradley Beal is good at basketball. Bradley Beal was overpaid and had a no trade clause that made his contract very, very bad. That's the bad. The Kings don't have bad players like this. I've been listening to national podcasts acting like the Kings are going to win 20 games this year.
Yeah, no, I don't see that.
No, the Kings are in a really tough spot from a team building perspective. Like, to be this is not the Kings are awesome. Like, I'm not viewing this with purple glasses, I promise. From a team building perspective, they're a disaster. They're in a really, really hard position. this year, next year, just because Zack Lavine, assuming he picks up his player option, is expiring next year, doesn't mean you're automatically going to be able to trade him.
Yeah.
For assets. Like that's not
it's a nice theory and thought, but it's like you still got to make it happen.
Right. So and you may not be able to. But from a team building perspective, they're in a really tough spot, and I don't argue that. I will never argue that. But on the other hand, they have a good enough collection of players that gives them a floor beyond the like 20, 25, 30 wins. Like to me,
they're about what they were last year, I think, as far as the floor.
Yeah, and I think if
maybe even a little bit better.
All things, and again, this is not they're doing everything right and they're building towards something. I'm talking about this year because I really think that Scott Perry is like, get through this year, then we'll figure out next year.
Yep.
And if it's not next year, then we'll make the moves that we can, and then we'll figure out the following year. I think that's where you have to be as a Kings general manager right now because of their contractual situations. But I think if you go into this year with no additional moves, you're a couple bounces away. Last year, in what a mess of a season that was, from winning 42, 43 games.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. Maybe you go into this year, which is there's no mess. It's just, this is the group of guys. This is our team right here. And it's just, there's a calmness to it where, like I said, we're not saying they're going to win 50 games or anything like that. I don't say they're going to win 45. The number for me is 40 right now. That's what I've been stuck on. But it's just, like you said, they were a couple bounces away from maybe being 43 wins. Maybe they can do that this season.
I hope so.
But the future doesn't, I don't feel the greatest about the future too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't blame anyone that's solely focused on this year and just trying to see their favorite team win as many games as possible. I totally get it. All right. Something interesting is happening with Devin Carter. We got to talk about